Welcome back to the FACEIT Ignite Halo European Open, where before the break, we saw Hyperboom take a very convincing 3-0 against Absolve. Gentlemen, what? I mean, you guys both predicted it, right?
Yeah, we knew it was going to be a 3-0, sadly. But, you know, I said there's a couple of players, maybe Boca or Blade could maybe make something out of it. It wasn't the case. Boca didn't actually do too bad in a couple of the games, but didn't affect the series in any way.
Bit disappointed because it's Cerberus' birthday today and he lost 3-0.
No.
They couldn't even give him one map just on his birthday.
Yeah,
I think
that's not very nice, is it?
No,
Yeah, no.
Personally, if someone else has their birthday on, I'd at least give them a couple of kills. It's unfair.
Well, we're going to take a look at our play of the game, and of course, it has to be from Sam Shots, that perfection coming in on the second map. That was incredible, really.
I mean, the fact that he had a killing frenzy in the game before and then he goes on a running riot and gets a perfection is nuts. And his teammates were saying as well, it's not like he was kind of just hogging the stats. He was everywhere on the map. He was just looking for kills. He was hungry. And this is what happens when you have a team who is pretty well practiced, who goes up against a team who isn't quite as well practiced or doesn't have the same skill level. You can just walk around like a match-made game and enjoy yourself. And that's exactly what he did, picking up some great kills.
But you saw just there, like, even when he had camo, he was very weak, but no one was just able to finish him off. It was like there's nothing they could have done, but you saw some snipe plays from him doing what you should do, like, you know, don't go straight up the lift of it, go back goal run, go open round, get those kind of off angles which the players don't expect, even though it's a little bit harder on yourself, but at the same time it is quite effective.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I just want to pick up on what Harry was saying in the post-game interview with Viking. You got some really good stuff coming out of there, but they were just saying the practice that they had on Construct, they were focusing more in towards lobby, which ended up paying off for them, right? You were saying about the practice. So it seems like they were prepared. They were the most prepared team coming into this.
I mean, that's the way you've got to prepare for an event. If you find there are areas of weakness in certain maps, you need to improve on those, and where better to improve when you actually get to a LAN event and when you get to play a team that maybe aren't as good as you in the early stages, because you can actually put those bits of practice into the equation when you get to LAN. So it's good that they've been able to do that. Whether they're going to be able to have the same effect against the better teams, that will remain to be seen.
Well, speaking of the better teams, we're going to be heading into match number 3. It's going to be TOX Gaming versus DEMONICA.PURPLE. We were saying before we went live, if you like 3-0s, it's going to be probably going to be another one of these, isn't it?
That is right. If you love 3-0s, you're going to most probably get another one here. Now, with DEMONICA.PURPLE, I have heard these names before. Not too bad, but we know they're not on the level of TOX here. They're going to have to... It's going to be miracle work if they ever get it. But it's not going to happen.
You're not talking about DEMONICA.PURPLE 3-0ing TOX? Is that not what we're saying right now? Because I think that could...
You can't even keep a straight face.
No, I can't do it. This should be a 3 over TOX. I mean, it's a nice warm-up for them, for sure. I think any team they've played would probably be a nice warm-up. There are a few teams at the top end of the European scale that would give them a good matchup, but they got a bye in round 1, did TOX. So this is actually DEMONICA.PURPLE's second game. They beat First Boss 3-0.
Yeah.
So at least that's going to give them great momentum going into it.
Yeah, exactly. Because we're going into round 2, we're going to be switching up the maps a little bit. We're going to be doing Onslaught for Capture the Flag, Heretic on Slayer, and then Construct for King of the Hill, onto Narrows for Capture the Flag, and then finally, if we get, well, I should have said that for Narrows actually, if we get to the maps 4 or 5, we're going to be having Pit for Slayer. I mean, it's already heavily favoured TOX, right?
It is already a heavily favoured game for them, and the game types help as well. Onslaught Capture the Flag. This is going to be painful to watch, I think, for DEMONICA. If they get stuck on a spawn trap and a spawn cycle, TOX could have a lot of fun and get warmed up. It sounds bad, but it's actually one of the best game types to warm up, because you can just constantly go for improving your aim throughout the day and getting used to things, and it could be heavily favoured for them, or they might just say, all right, we just want to win this one 5-0, let's get this series out of the way. I don't know what the style is going to be, because it's 2 new players for TOX.
Of course, yeah. I mean, we were kind of talking about that before, and you were saying it's a good trade-off, right, in terms of who they were taking out to who they're replacing in TOX.
Yeah, it's great replacement. We spoke about it before earlier, saying that Sniden's a good replacement for Royal 2, especially it will help in TOX's game types in certain weak areas. And then with Ace as well, you know, he's a good all-rounder just like Lethal is. Lethal is known for being one of those great support players who will do some of the dirty work here and there. But now DEMONICA.PURPLE, they know this is going to be a real struggle, a real testament to see what they can actually do here. And like you mentioned before, the first game type being Onslaught Flag. Wouldn't surprise me if we did see a goose here and there. It depends on the circumstances, but they're even going to struggle to get on their half on the map, let alone a cap.
I think the most important thing is they just got to go out and have fun. Yeah. How often do you get to play against world champions?
Exactly.
I mean, I never got to play against the best players in the world in Halo, because we were at European events. We never got North American teams coming over here before I retired and stopped playing other games and going into commentary. Whereas now they're getting to play against some of these big players, and they can just take that as a memory, as almost a souvenir. They can go home, and as long as they can hold their head held high, if I can even get my words out, then they can have fun with it. And if they get 1 kill against the best player in the world, that's something to scream and shout about, isn't it?
Exactly. And I mean, they are, as you said, they are in the 1-0. They did manage to do 3-0 against First Boss as their first game of this tournament, which, I mean, it's a good momentum to have, right? Coming into something like this, you kind of know what the result's going to be. But as you were saying, good to just test out some new stuff, right?
Yeah, I think that with the victory they've already got, they're not going to be as nervous. I think if they had lost their first game, they're probably thinking, all right, well, we're probably going to go out of the tournament now because we have to face the TOX boys. But yeah, I think this is just experiment, have fun. Maybe you can cause a little bit of an upset. An upset could just be getting 10 kills, for example. I think you just got to put yourself on the stage here, try and make a name for yourself. If you can get a big triple kill or something, that's good. That can go in your montage, and then you can tweet that to all your followers and your friends. Yeah,
that's true. It's going to be a bit of a weird one, especially with Onslaught Flag. If they don't finish it within like 5 minutes, I'm going to assume they're just trying to get warm ready for the rest of the day. But I don't think they're even going to have trouble with any of the teams in their group anyway, let alone the team they're coming up against next. But for DEMONICA.PURPLE, it's just basically a learning experience for them. And then they know they're not going to win. I think they've made that assumption already, which is a bit of a sad case. But like I said, it's learning experience for them.
But what about the rest of the group going forward? Obviously, we're predicting it's going to be a 3-0. But in terms of the other teams they may be facing, do you think they have more of a shot against those guys?
I wouldn't say so, no. I think in terms of scoreline, it's going to be very similar. It wouldn't surprise me if they just 12-0'd the group in terms of all the games and then just went straight through into the group stages. It's like that with most of the European teams, even with RBL Esports, you know, with Respectful and the boys, even they're going to struggle to take a game here and there. And if the top European team is going to struggle, imagine what the low-tier European teams are feeling.
Yes, exactly. Is there anybody in particular from TOX that you're going to be keeping your eye on? Is it going to be those new boys that are coming in there?
It's going to be an interesting one. I'd probably say, you know, players like Snakebite, it does a little bit of everything. You always see him actually going for the objective most of the time, but you don't really get many players who main slays and objectives at the same time. Maybe because he's going clean-up duty whilst getting an objective, which he should be doing anyway. But, you know, players like Ace I want to see as well, because he's the one, not the question mark, but just the role and what he plays. We said before he'd be a bit of an all-rounder, even though Lethal plays more support. But, you know, with top teams like this, they haven't got roles. It's just going to naturally fit to how they actually get used to. So I want to see what he comes up with in the TOX squad.
What about you, Dan? Is there anything you're particularly excited to be seeing?
I always just want to watch Snipe Down, and Snipe Down on a TOX roster as well. I think that's really interesting, especially with Lethal not being here, because there's a lot of history between those two players. Snipe Down is going to fit in perfectly, though, being a sniper, Royal 2 not being there, so he's going to be gifted that role. I think he could go off. He's going to have fun against some of these lower-tier European players, because he's just going to be able to not pad the stats, but just be able to get kills after kills. We saw a perfection already this tournament. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw another one again.
Yes, yeah, well, exactly. I mean, you're saying that, and there are legendary names, right? I think it's really interesting when you're talking about the EU teams being able to face NA teams, and obviously we have another NA team in Tea and Crumpets. What an apt name coming in, and for that, of course, we can see the groups up on the screen. Now, we haven't actually seen any of Lethal Divide or Lucendi yet. What are you kind of making of those guys?
So I still think that Lethal Divide and Lucendi should be able to top the likes of DEMONICA.PURPLE and First Boss, so I'd be expecting them to go through into the championship bracket with TOX Gaming, but it's just going to be who out of Lethal Divide and Lucendi will actually be able to break through, because they're 8th and 9th seed respectively, so they are going to be very closely contested. And there's some legendary names on there as well. I mean, Kimbo is a European champion, Lunny is up there, and we've got old players like Zyra, Sniple coming into the things. Like, this is a really exciting group. And now it's going to be a chance for DEMONICA.PURPLE to actually just enjoy themselves against some really experienced players in both North America and Europe. Yeah,
you'd assume that Lucendi should be the team coming out in second, because they're the one who've been scrimming the most and they've been gelling quite well. You've got players like Rob S and Zaras, who teamed together before in Halo 4. Sniple has not got off the game whilst we were actually playing all the other Halos, so Halo 4 and H2A. He's been really, really grinding, and the improvements he's made compared to when I last played him on MCC until after Halo 5, it's been a massive, massive gap. But Kimbo as well on Lethal Divide, he was the best Halo 5 player, slaying, gun skill. He was one of the biggest aim stars there, and to see him play Halo 3 on that roster will be quite interesting.
Was it Rob and Zaras who teamed with Ninja when Ninja came over as well?
Yes,
on the Vibe roster.
That's right, yeah. So that was like EGL9, I believe, when they managed to take that, yeah.
So we have seen North American players and teams come over to events before. Straight Rippin actually came over to a European event way back in the day, and it was a similar vibe to this. Some of the lower European players got to play against like the best players in the world.
Yeah.
And Tom Taylor, who was here commentating, he was one of those players. So it's great that we're seeing this again, and not only the one North American roster, but also Tea and Crumpets coming over.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for TOX, is there any element of, you know, not wanting to fall to such a lower seeded team? Do you think there's going to be any nerves? Or, I mean, they're used to competing on the big stages, right?
Yeah.
I think that DEMONICA.PURPLE, I don't think they'll be worried about whatsoever.
No.
Like, there's no thought process like that whatsoever. But in the back of their minds against some of the other top European rosters, there will certainly be that of, well, what happens if we don't win this event? Because people will ask questions. Regardless of whether there's been replacements or not, TOX should be winning this event. And if they don't, then people will be like, well, maybe the European kids aren't so bad after all. So they need to be focused and can't allow that to happen.
I think we can agree here, but DEMONICA.PURPLE, they've assumed they've lost, and TOX have assumed they've won. I'm going to put it as simple as that. They know exactly how things are going to pan out here. You know, I'm a bit worried because in the circumstances, it's getting a bit cheeky there on camera. He's, you know, he's ready for it. He wants a little piece of the action, but for these guys, I hope it's not too hectic for them. But Onslaught flag to start with. I think to myself, if it's starting on Heretic CTF or Onslaught CTF, you know, it's going to be quite worrying, but the fact that it's Onslaught CTF, I am worried it's going to be a goose somewhere.
Well, we're going to see what pans out as we head over to our casters. Tsquared and Onset, let's head over to you.
It is time to get into our next series, and before we do so, we see you, chat. Don't worry, we see you. Before we get this underway, Tom, do the thing. Do the thing. Give the people what they want. There it is. One more button for you people at home. There it is. One more button. I'm keeping you on your toes today.
We may be shirtless by the end of this thing.
Who knows? Keep watching. You'll find out. Anyway, this is obviously going to be a very interesting series. A little bit like that intro was, to be honest with you. But it's going to be a real, you know, opportunity here for DEMONICA.PURPLE, maybe to just see how tough top-level Halo is to deal with.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, they're all smiles right now. They may be smiles afterwards, too, but during the series, it is going to be very tough for them to even get any words out because
I'm struggling to keep eye contact
it's going to be
with you,
on my X. On my
I keep
X.
looking at your chest out now.
It's my eyes are up here. It's going to be just complete slaughter on Onslaught. I mean, that's why they call it Onslaught, because you don't have time to spawn. You're just constantly in your death screen. Now, when we talk about strategy, let me give you guys a little bit heads up on what to be looking for here. So Ace, he's going to be laying down shots, but the opportunities lay in going top center and then getting into the enemy base. So he's just trying to get this guy out of B2 so he can push up over towards top center, but Fidgets with the nice shots. APG going to help pick that one up. Now you're going to see Snipe Down work at the base here. He's going to try to get on top of the boxes. He's working with Snakebite. APG, he's going to be over on the base, so it's Snakebite that's top center actually. So Snipe Down pulling this one, already running it over towards the window. He knows Ace is coming back off spawn, and that's an early flag cap 30 seconds in.
Yeah, flag cap already in. APG already keeping the pressure on in the base as well. And TOX Gaming, this is why they're scary. You can see so much damage just being dealt across the board here. Snakebite already on a killing spree. Jesus trying to take down Ace and does win the battle there, so maybe a little bit of a confidence builder. And they do manage to at least slow down this run here for TOX Gaming, but APG picking up that kill here. Snipe Down. Looks like he's a little bit allergic to that flag. Maybe got the call out to finish off this player in the box first, but look at this. The guys from DEMONICA.PURPLE giving them as good as they're getting at the start of this game, and they finally got across that 50-yard mark. Maybe they can put a bit of pressure onto the TOX base.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to be able to get that return, but they're going to have to get top center before they get into the base, actually, because if you do that, then they're just going to go right back up towards top center on the TOX side, and that's where you saw Snakebite go and rotate, and you don't need multiple people up there. It's better to have 2 people on the flag, and you do see 2 people top center here. That's ideal, but one of them's going to eventually push in and be the support for the flag guys, so they're just sitting there rotating, and there's not that many spawns. You have A and B, so they're just going to rotate back. If they're not A, they're going to be B. If they're not B, they're going to be A. Sometimes they spawn underneath their base, sometimes they spawn on their flag, but the primary spawns are right there by the dumpster. So above the dumpster, over towards the tunnel side, and actually in the corner there. So that's where people are going to constantly pop up, and your best option right now, if you're DEMONICA, is to do what they are doing. They're rotating back to their base and trying to clear out these players, but everybody from TOX Gaming is flooding in there and realizing the situation. They have to give support in a Snipe Down. He's trying to get that flag pulled. Everybody spawns on over towards the A side for TOX, which means everyone's going to be on the B side for DEMONICA. Nice killing spree coming in with the beat down there for Snipe Down. They still haven't taken him out yet. That's a huge threat inside of your base. That's a triple kill, but he has to reload.
Feel a little bit sorry for Snipe Down there. He did so much good work, staying alive in the base, doing so much damage, and just being a nuisance, being that thorn in the backside that we know that he can be. And now Fidgets is going to be under pressure. You can see the flag is already moving across the base as well. This will be the 3rd flag going in, and look at this. TOX Gaming set up for a double cap here. Shots going down. Ace is just waiting for those kills to come in before he starts moving that flag once more. Tries to get it towards where those slays have gone down. Good job though from DEMONICA.PURPLE. We're just stuttering that, but look. Snakebite still set up here, still putting shots down. APG, one of the smiliest men that you ever meet, and he's going to be smiling this one all the way home.
You see Ace kind of overthinking that one while he's running the flag. APG, no hesitation in running that one at all, and that's why he was just able to manhandle that flag in there so quickly. Now Ace coming off the spawn does go for the flag again, so you can start to see who the objective players are going to be. Snipedown, he's always been known as that main slayer. He's going to lock down top center. You saw Snakebite, he was locking it down too. And what's so scary is Snakebite's a great objective player as well. I'm not saying Snipedown, doesn't run the objective, but he's more suitable for staying up top center and just laying down shots on people not looking at him. And that's an easy 5-0 clap right there. And you could see, like, there's nothing that you can do right there if you're on the other side of Demonica, and you just laugh it off, have a good time. Did anybody get goosed? It looks like everyone survived, so you guys are good, man. No gooses on the board. It's a good time.
That's a win. It's more news. The news is just rolling in today. We'll take a quick look at the statistics from that game, and yeah, everyone managed to
15 assists.
By the way, can we just say that Creme Fraiche is one of the best service tags I think I've ever seen from XXL there, so shout out to you. But across the board, pretty much fantastic stuff from TOX, as you would expect. Lots of assists on the board. Sniped putting up the most there. But Demonica, Demonica.PURPLE, at least gave them a little bit of a battle there. Didn't make it as easy as it could have been.
Yeah, I mean, that was some well-played areas at certain parts of the game, but when you're going against multiple, national champions, it's extremely tough to pull that one out. Again, that's just have a good time, learn a little bit, get some experience. And that's really all you can do in this series, because it's going to be just like that in Game 2. It's going to be just like that in Game 3. I mean, Heretic Slayer is your best opportunity to get anything done in this series. Maybe make it like a 50-35 or something like that and try to keep it close. But you look at Construct King of the Hill, that is such a lockdown game type. Onslaught Flag, such a lockdown game type. It's going to be extremely difficult for these guys to get it going. And we already hopped into this game. APG starting this one off with a double kill.
And shots across the board straight away, and I love watching APG play Halo 3. His ability to switch targets, to switch his attention, and put down so much damage. And he always just seems to be moving forward while he's doing it, whether that's towards respawners, towards objective. He's got a really fantastic understanding. You can see why TOX Gaming picked him up. When Frosty obviously made the move away from Halo, there was a space to be filled, and APG obviously very, very good friends with a lot of the TOX guys, but such a phenomenal player on Halo 3. He really hasn't missed a beat as far as the championship winning mentality and form of TOXers.
Yeah, he doesn't miss a beat. He rarely misses shots. I mean, he's such a smart player too. He's aggressive. He gets into your face. And if you have people like that, that opens up other players on your team. And that's why having someone like APG with a snipe down could be a very lethal combination between the two. Ace, again, he does a great job of staying alive. So their team cohesion just on paper is very solid. It's just a matter of, are they going to be able to execute on things with their experience? No doubt in my mind that they're going to be able to take this one. I mean, they're gonna want this to prove again that they want to show what America Halo has. If EU ends up winning this one, it's always been that battle forever. North America versus EU Halo, and sometimes EU's come over to America and got the better of some of the top teams, but now it's their turn to come here and show what they have, and I don't think they want that opportunity to slip away from them.
Well, 30-9 is the score at the moment. This isn't a beating. This isn't a winning. This is an absolute massacre here on Heretic Slayer. XXL is going to be taken down. APG just continuing to pick up kills, almost as if he can play with one hand at this point.
Snipetown looks like he's got the Exorcist took over him for a second like there. He's just like leaned in,
he looked like he was
hyper-focused.
He looks a little bit like he hasn't quite been unlocked though in his breakout, you know what I mean? Like a video game, kind of like you need to progress in the game a little bit longer to unlock Snipe now. Maybe, maybe Demonica are quite happy that he hasn't been fully unlocked yet, because this could be even worse.
Somehow APG living through that giant explosion of plasma grenades. He's going to sit on over towards the lip now, just rotating on over towards the window, realizes that there's a player over towards the cuts, and simple as that, just a call out, and everyone's going to go and collapse on that one. Here comes the flank coming in from Snakebite, everybody getting spawn trapped on over towards the car side. Tough spot to be. We were hoping that they could get maybe 20-30 kills on the map right now, but it's 44-14, just complete domination, great rotations, team shot all across the board. No ping control, unfortunately, coming in from Demonica. They can't get off spawn. They're all staggered, dying one by one. so difficult to do anything right here. We're looking at a surf and turf, or not really sure what you guys prefer. If you guys like fish and chips better over here, I mean, it's really hard to beat a good surf and turf.
We'll take what we can get, and I'm sure DEMONICA.PURPLE would like to do the same. That was one that they won't want to see back. Maybe they will. Maybe, as I say, it's that experience. TOX Gaming, no surprise to see them up 2-0 in the series here in the Swiss format, looking to go 2-0 in the Swiss, of course, as well. And go within one win of obviously making it through to tomorrow, as we would fully expect them to be. I mean, that would be, I don't know, more shocking than you unbuttoning your shirt on a broadcast if they didn't make it to tomorrow.
Ace providing live, up-to-date tweets on every single game that's going on. Now, I'm looking at the assists from this game again, just across the board. Look at how much assists everybody has. APG with 0 deaths throughout all of that, too, 13 and 0.
It's a poor man's Sam Shots.
It is. It's, you know, he's not quite at Sam Shots level yet.
Maybe if he works really hard.
Yeah, one day, APG will be there. But it's tough. I mean, it's tough to get a game with 0 deaths at a tournament. We've seen 2 in a span of like 3 or 4 games there. So just phenomenal Halo being played from all of these players here. Now we move into Construct King of the Hill, and you see 5-0 on Onslaught Flag, 50-15 here. Predictions on game number 3?
I can guarantee one thing: it will be longer.
Yes, it'll
than
definitely.
Those first 2 games. So
mathematically, it has to be longer.
Mathematically, it will be longer. So an opportunity maybe here for DEMONICA.PURPLE to at least get their shots warmed up a little bit and maybe look ahead to that next match. But for TOX Gaming, it's going to be a case of just going through the fundamentals, just making sure you're getting your rotations when that hill moves, making sure you're getting that overshield when it pops up as well, and just doing what they've done so far, just keeping up that incredibly high standard of Halo that we know them for. And the only thing that they could really, could hurt them moving forward from a series like this is maybe just letting their guard down a little bit and getting a little bit sloppy. But well, you talk about the 4 players on that team, they just don't allow themselves to do that.
Yeah, they're all smiles on the DEMONICA.PURPLE side, though. You love to see it. They know they're going against some of the best players in the world here. Ace, he's chilling like a cucumber. Got the Stray Rippin' shirt on. You love to see it. Now, one of the things, again, that makes TOX so strong is their understanding of how each other plays. And I think that that's one of the things that we saw in the previous series, too, is that's why they selected these particular teammates. They're all just extremely comfortable with one another's play styles. So that's when I was talking to Tashi backstage, and I was saying, a lot of times I'm more impressed by someone that doesn't challenge something than someone that challenges and wins a battle that they shouldn't have. And I think that's what you're going to see from a lot of these top players. Keep that in mind, that it's not about all these battles that you win, it's about your positioning and getting ready for the next battle that's taking place.
It's about playing those percentages, as APG gives us a little wiggle, a little dance. As he's coming under absolutely no fire at the moment, and this is just a perfect setup at the start of this game on this bottom hill. And if TOX Gaming can rack up perfect bottom hills, then, I mean, when it gets to those side hills, you've got to worry here for DEMONICA.PURPLE. Already 27 points on the board, but again, just look at the discipline here of TOX. They can quite easily try and get this game done as quickly as possible. APG still jumping out of the hill in that moment, making sure he doesn't give away an easy death before jumping back in. They really are just perfectionists when it comes to their Halo.
And he's still just milking this time down there. I mean, he didn't die the previous game, and now he's working the objective consistently, just staying in that bottom hill, which is not easy to do. Keep in mind, we're a minute into this game, minute and 10 seconds. They've already got 52 seconds, so they've only gotten out of the hill for a total of 15 to 20 seconds throughout all of that. Fidget's nice little smirk there as he tried to push in and take APG out, and there it is. They're putting their first seconds on the board. This is big, double XL. Laying down some shots, but Ace with some very, very crispy VR bullets coming in right there, taking him out of the hill. And now you gotta start thinking about getting top center control. This is about 20 seconds until this thing's gonna move. Overshield's gonna be popping up. This is when a team like TOX is gonna really excel and shine. They're gonna try to clear out this sword lobby area and just make sure that they secure the top area of the map. All 4 dead, milking the last couple seconds here, setting up on top, setting up on bottom. Most likely spawning on the gold side if you're DEMONICA.PURPLE, not where you want to be.
So we're going to see Snakebite here just chilling down low. Does get shot just momentarily there, which means he'll have to wait just a few extra seconds before he does, of course, pick up that overshield. And
shot again.
XSL tries to pop out. No, Fidget's making things difficult. That's going to be a triple here if he can finish it. Is there an overkill here for Snakebite? Jesus!
Oh.
He needed every single superpower that he had there.
He needed a prayer.
He needed divine intervention.
Yes. Not going to happen when you don't pick up that overshield there.
I think I just said that Jesus had superpowers, so I'm just going to
I'm pretty sure he did. I mean, taking out Snakebite as he's going for an overkill isn't easy. looks like Snipe Down feeling it, trying to go for the quick scope on the guy up towards the purple. He's going to drop down and live over towards the river. He picks up the nice double kill on double XL. His teammate APG going to take out Fidgets, and the rich get richer as Snipe Down going to take that empty sniper and fill it right back up. Curious to see where the spawns are. Middle gold is the worst spawn in this game. Bottom center is also a horrible spawn, especially when you have such great top control coming in. Fidgets, he's going to die over towards the lobby. Now what they got to do is they got to get over towards the sword area. That seems to be the weak spot. Oh, it's just a dead body coming up. So here's their mistakes that they're making right now. They just had 2 dead, and now he's challenging Snipe Down, which looks like a smart challenge, potentially killing him, but they never spawned their teammates. That's the unfortunate part, is no one ever spawned over towards the sword in the lobby area. And that's one of these things that these guys have to think about. You have 2 dead. You haven't been able to win your 4-on-4s. What makes you think you're going to win a 2-on-4? You might as well spawn everybody in a great position and then try to work some angles and try to work some numbers. That's one of these things that these guys have to look at and say, hey, it's a simple fix. Be more patient.
So much time in Construct King of the Hill as well. You can afford to, especially at the start of the game, just give yourself a little bit of time to formulate those pushes. The Snipe Down with the sniper rifle, APG, with 3 rockets to work with as well, and this is going to be even more difficult now. I mean, DEMONICA.PURPLE have been struggling to get up those purples, to get up to the top of the map when they didn't have any power weapons, and now they do. TOX Gaming not only getting control of the power weapons here, Tom, but using them, putting them into good positions, making sure they're effective with them is just as important as getting them in your hands.
That's a good point. I never thought about them possibly being obsessed with the purple lifts, since their name is DEMONICA.PURPLE, so that's something you got to watch out for if you're TOX Gaming. They could be trying to utilize that, keeping that on their side. But one of the things that I want to point out is APG's positioning with the rockets over towards the close side. They actually gave up the overshield, which is interesting. So great job by DEMONICA.PURPLE picking that up. Let's see what Flash is going to be able to do with it. Snakebite taking down a no shields. Oh, Snipe Down's there for the help though, and Fidgets, he's now taking a no shield over towards the lobby as well. Snakebite there with the help. He's going to pick up that sniper. Now Jesus is the last guy alive. He's located down towards R1. So what you're going to notice here is APG is support over towards the hillside. So he'll just sit there and watch a couple of different angles. Now he's going to rotate on over towards the sword, but he's just eyes for Ace. So Ace can be a little bit more comfortable in the hill because you're so vulnerable when you're down there. There's so many different angles that you could die from. The whole map can basically see you no matter where you are, unless you're basically in this spot right here where Snakebite is. Every other spot on Construct can see the bottom center hill. So when you are there by yourself, you're susceptible to nades, you're susceptible to really getting shot at. Snakebite with a nice double kill. But if you have someone else there that can kind of take over for you, you can bait and switch in that area, and you can also just add more pressure onto that side of the map, and you don't get left all alone there. So there's nothing you can do. I mean, there's absolutely nothing you can do right there. They're baiting and switching perfectly. Your nades are on point. They're controlling everything. The only thing that they missed was literally just one custom power-up throughout this entire series. Other than that, this is looking like TOX Gaming is extremely strong, as we expected.
And you can just see the difference here from the speed that everyone repositions after picking up 1 kill. They're looking for the next spawner or looking to immediately help out a teammate once 1 death does get completed, or 1 kill should get completed, I should say. They're so efficient, so deadly. And again, they're just relentless in their professionalism, and they want to win here, Tom. You can,
so look
even as a joke here, like TOX Gaming, imagine they drop 1 game here. You know that they're going to
no,
they're going to be pissed.
They don't want to drop a game. That's the thing is, watch how Snipe Down dropped down right there and just worked with Snakebite. They waited for all 4 of them to come back alive, and now they're going to make their move. They don't care that they just gave up 10 seconds because they're going to get that times 5 after this. You know, if the game was still going to continue, but it's about to end in 10 seconds if they can control this closed side, which they will. But that's the patience that I'm talking about. You don't have to force things. Work with your teammates. Think about the spawns. Think about how you're going to approach the game. And there it is, TOX Gaming, 250-22. Fantastic series, as expected. Swift 3-0, and I'm honest, I want to see the 2 teams that we just saw dominate face off against one another. That's what pool play is all about. Getting your record, showing who the strongest teams are going to be. All smiles from the DEMONICA.PURPLE boys. They did a great job. Hats off, fellas. That's a tough team that you just faced, but having a good time is what it's all about, and learning is what it's all about as well. I'm sure they're going to take a couple of pointers there. My pointer to them would be play a little bit more patient. Think about the spawns a little bit more. Everything else will kind of fall in place from there.
So TOX Gaming, of course, completing the 3-0 sweep there, looking incredible, as they always are when it comes to Halo 3. On the other side of things, DEMONICA.PURPLE struggling a little bit, and I think it'll be interesting to see now as TOX move through this Swiss format, now that they're having a 2-0 record when they go up against another team now who will have that 2-0 record from the groups, that, you know, we will get to see them tested a little bit. And as you can see from this series score here, I mean, they weren't tested particularly there. 5-0, 50-15, and 250-22. We're never going to see that Narrows capture the flag. I was looking forward to that.
No, but we will find out later in the tournament what's going to happen. Yeah, we haven't seen Narrows quite yet. Again, the first couple series that we played were the first round of the very first, the first round of the first Swiss plays that we've seen. So we're going to start seeing different game types pop up here, but we did see what TOX is made up out of these specific game types. Now, one of the things that you could do if you're one of the other top teams here is taking little notes, or maybe the coach is watching what the beginning strategies were. Like, what did they do in Construct King of the Hill? Did they all go up a specific purple? Did they, you know, cherish any part of the map more than the other? What did they do in the beginning of Onslaught? So we can look here at some of the highlights. It's not going to give away any huge tidbits of information, but maybe you could see what their ideal setup was. You notice APG and Ace, they seem to be more the objective players. Snipedown and Snakebite seem to be more the slayers. So now that you know these small nuances of what they have on their team, you could kind of expect what's going to happen if someone's at your base. Yeah, you don't want to predict them too hard, but at the same time, it gives you just a little bit of an edge by being able to watch these guys play.
This is just going to be a TOX highlight reel. There wasn't too much to write home about for DEMONICA.PURPLE. But it is the one thing that I do love about when we get these North American teams over. For a lot of the players that are on DEMONICA.PURPLE, you know, they've grown up watching these type of players. You've grown up idolizing these type of players. It's the reason that they're playing Halo. That's why they're here at this tournament at Twickenham, and it's something that you can't take away from that memory. However, sometimes it's more of a nightmare than a memory, to be honest, when you realize just how good these players are. But for TOX, I mean, it was everything we expected, to be honest with you. And I mean, one question maybe coming into the event is, you know, how are Ace and Snipedown going to slide onto this roster? But they're so talented, and they're the players they're replacing almost like for like, to be honest with you. The likes of Royal 2 and of course Lethal shouldn't be too much of a switch up for them as we get into those later rounds of the tournaments, and they're going to be tested a little bit more.
It could end up just working better for them. You never know, because Ace Ace and APG, I still never think that they hit their peak in Halo. And like you could say Ace, he won, what was it, $200,000, $250,000 when he was the Halo 4 Global Champion. Was that his peak? No, not at all. That's when he first started to come around, and you could see him working on his mentality. He's gotten into like meditation, taking care of himself, all these things that when you've been playing video games this long, you have to take care of your body. And these guys are all taking care of their bodies. They have all been doing this a really long time, and there's a reason that they're able to still compete at such a high level. So I still don't think that Ace and APG have peaked as players yet. I think that Snipedown's probably sitting around his prime right now, and Snakebite's sitting around his prime too. But if you can grab and get these players as they're starting to possibly play the best Halo of their lives, I think that they're on the verge of that. Honestly, I really do. I don't think Ace and APG have peaked yet.
Well, let's talk to one of those players now who Tom Taylor thinks is in his prime, who is peaking at the moment. It is, of course, Snipedown. He's down on the floor with Wonderboy.
Snipedown, great win, mate. That was a bit of a quick one. Is there anything that you guys can take away from that series?
Yeah, just learning how to play together, enjoying a new team. It's been a long time since I've ever played with APG and Snakebite, and I know how good they are. And it's just fun to play with some different play styles.
So joining TOX, I know there's a bit of a meme in there. Your first ever gamer tag was?
Yeah, ITOXI Snipedown was like where it all began. That's where I got my online fame, I suppose, in Halo 2, and it kind of went from there. And now we're back full circle here 11 years later.
So now you're TOX Snipedown. Do you feel like there's more pressure on your shoulders? I know you put a lot of pressure on yourselves anyway. But is there more pressure now that you're playing under the TOX name to bring home a tournament?
I definitely feel confident with the players I'm surrounded here with. And, me, Ace, and APG actually played together with Lethal and plays a Snakebite at Gamers for Giving. So there's a little bit of teamwork there that we have. And I think we're just going into this weekend, expecting a win. And we're going to still work as hard as we can to get that.
Lastly, are there any European teams maybe you're looking out for, maybe individual players perhaps?
Yeah, individual players. I know Respectful, Jimbo, those guys have always come up with some really good teams, whether it's together or with a different group of guys surrounding them. So I'm definitely expecting anytime we face up against those guys to have a great series.
Awesome, Snipedown. Thank you very much. Onset, Tsquared, back to you.
Always fantastic to hear from Eric Rona, Snipe down there, and a lot of answers maybe we would expect. Players he's looking out for, very interesting there. Jimbo, respectful, you know, the normal names you would expect.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what's so exciting about this tournament is I can't wait for other players to shine because, you know, a lot of us know about the respectful, the Kimbos, the Jimbos. You know, you see these names constantly coming over to America. But I want to see the players that haven't had that opportunity. Maybe they haven't had an org get behind them to go and handle their flights out there. We're going to see that here, and that's what excites me the most about this tournament is Snipedown's answer today is going to be different than it's going to be tomorrow once some of these other names start popping up, and I can't wait to see who it's